I lost my mind. I mean, I thought it was okay. Mm, wasn't sure if I wanted to be whole or holy. Who knows? I did the best I could. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in, my legacy planners. So here we discuss all things love, loss, and legacy. So today you guys are in for a treat. I am exposing or just kind of sharing where I believe my loss started well before I lost my dad last year. So I'm going to share with you what I did and probably shouldn't have done after my 23-year divorce, marriage, and then divorce. So, as I stated, I was married for roughly about 20 years, 21 years before it was all said and done, and then 23 years when the ink dried on the paper. I have two sons from that marriage, and we were essentially college sweethearts, if that's what you want to call it. So I knew from the very beginning I shouldn't have been getting married. I mean, this is on me. You know, I can't blame anyone but myself. I knew we were not really equally yoked, if that's a term I can use safely. And not because I think it goes far beyond just spiritually. I think it goes with all things. And yeah, we weren't. In fact, when we went to our marriage counseling to get married, the pastor said he had been doing the counseling for about 30 years. And it was the first time he ever told a couple, yeah, this ain't it. Y'all need to break. I'm not saying that you should never get married. I'm saying that right now. Ideally, you all are not on the same page with nothing. So you should probably go that way and you should go that way. And at some point, maybe come back together in 10, 15, 20 years. But don't do it now. But no, as you will hear throughout this particular show, video, I tend to do what I want to do, right? Because I had a plan and I'm a planner and I needed to, we were going to get that done. We just needed him to do it. And so since he wasn't on board, we found a way to get it done. And that's when it started. So I think the first 5 years or so of our marriage, things were good. The reason they were good is because I traveled for work. So I was pretty much gone for maybe 4 days out the week. And so when we saw each other, it was still honeymoon time, right? So it's my boy. We hanging, we doing all the things, we're having fun, and it was cool. And then when I changed jobs and stopped traveling, that's when it hit the fan. So I don't really want to talk too much more about the actual marriage. It was what it was. Honestly, I wasn't, I didn't hate him. I didn't want to get divorced, not because I was so much in love with him. It was because I had made a commitment and, that's what you do. You're not always happy. And I had pretty much, settled into what it was. We had a peaceful home in my mind. And yeah, everything was good. We had two sons and life was lifing. But that's not the way that it really should be. And I've learned that through my current marriage and my husband. He does things that it took me a while to realize that, girl, like you was missing all this. You were missing all this. So yeah, I accepted some things I shouldn't have accepted. And even when he told me the first 2 times he didn't want to be married, I fought for it. But it's okay. After the 3rd time, I heard him, and here we are. So I wanted to share some things that I did after we were divorced that, for good or bad, I did it, and I wouldn't recommend it. They say that you should not make any huge life choices. There are certain things that you should not do after you experience a great loss, whether that's death, divorce, relationship from a long-term relationship, a loss of a job, anything that is, you know, significant in your life, you really shouldn't do some of these things. I did everything they stated not to do. Go figure, right? Everything they stated not to do, I did it. I don't know why. Because I wanted to. And you know, I serve a mighty God. That's all I'm gonna say is, but God, He spared me and He kept me and He brought me back to a place of my senses. And I just thank God for God and thank God for His grace and mercy, because I was on a path, y'all. He gave me my husband because He said, this girl is out here. She about to mess. Yeah, she about to mess up. So yeah, it was crazy. But the first thing I did that I wouldn't recommend is that I kept everything to myself. I was so close to vests, like people that have been kind of going down. When I say people, I mean like a handful of people that were kind of going down that journey with me just because of, you know, they were in my life and I was just experiencing so much pain. They were right there with me. They knew, but I kept everything close to vest, and what's done in the dark will come out in the light. I'm not saying you got to go tell all your business, but that was such a significant loss. You know, I'm not saying that I had to go on social media, post YouTube videos. I'm not saying any of that, or even talk to a lot of people. I should have gotten therapy, and I didn't. I waited. I kept everything to myself. I prayed, and all of that's great, but God has given you resources, and I didn't use them. So that's the first thing that I did that I wish I probably, and I hate to go back and say I wish, but it definitely would have benefited me and my children had I did that sooner versus later. So yeah, that was the first thing, is that I, you know, did not talk to anyone. I kept it close to vest, and by doing that, I was in my head, and that ain't always a good place to be. So that was the first thing, is, you know, I didn't talk to anybody. I was so like orchestrated in how I shared the news. In fact, my cousins and I are very close. I'm close with all my cousins, but on my dad's side, like we locked in, and I actually put them together on a Zoom call, scheduled a Zoom call, and like it was a meeting, y'all. Shared it with these babies. They're grown women, but I mean, they're my babies. So yeah, like, don't do that. You know, find you a therapist, spiritual counselor, however you get down. You can't do this by yourself, and you shouldn't be left to your own devices. That's no good, and you'll see why when I share. Other thing I did was I had been with him pretty much my whole adult life, so there was not really any others. I wanted others. So I allowed myself to engage in other relationships, and not like, it's not like I had a lot of relationships, but I let myself be out there. I was outside. I was outside, and that's not a place for you to be. It wasn't a place for me. It's not a safe place, period. But definitely, if you don't know what you're doing, y'all listen. I was out there. I'm telling you, it was God. He said, "Let me get this baby, because she don't know. She don't know what she's doing." Thank God He sent my husband when He did, because Lord knows where I would be, who I would be right about now, if I was just left again to my own devices. So I went outside, and yeah, I understand. I definitely needed to experience. I mean, it was going to happen. I didn't need to force it. I didn't need to orchestrate a plan, or, you know, set it up. It was going to happen. I was getting divorced or divorced, and yeah, I was going to be out there, but I was out there. And now I wasn't, you know, on the corner. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a lady. I'm still a lady. But I exposed myself and put myself out there. And when you don't know what you're doing and you do that, certain spirits and people and personalities and things will try to attach themselves to you. And people could see I was fresh meat. I mean, it was all over me. I was fresh meat, and had a lot going for myself, even in the midst of my pain and suffering. I had a lot going for myself, and yeah, it was no place for me to be. So y'all listen, stay inside a little bit. Don't go outside. Not like me, but thank God he protected me, and he sent me my prince, my knight in shining armor to rescue me. Thank you, Jesus. And it's my baby, and I'm so grateful for him. So yeah, so that's one thing that I did. The other thing I did was I relocated with my two sons. I moved to North Carolina from Michigan, and that was always the plan. It wasn't with them while they were minor children. It was supposed to happen after they graduated. I was going for my PhD, and the whole plan was to get my PhD, and I wanted to teach at HBCU, and I wanted to do it obviously in the South. North Carolina was just where I landed because it was one of the states that had the most HBCUs, and it wasn't so far like at Texas, Arkansas, Florida. Like, it wasn't so far south, so, and so big, so I could still get to, I can get home if I needed to, because both of my parents were still alive, so I can get home. So I landed in North Carolina, and I relocated, and I'm not going to say that that was a bad thing. It was what was needed. I don't regret it. I love it here. It's definitely my happy place. I'm blessed to wake up here every day. It's such a beautiful state. And when you're coming from, concrete, Michigan is Michigan. It's beautiful at certain times of the year, but the Detroit metro area can be a little gloom and doom. So being here, fresh air, beautiful trees, green grass, I'm loving it. I'm definitely loving it. So I don't regret that. Just having two minor children and doing it caused definitely some growing pains, and it stretched us. And I do believe that my kids probably experienced some pain that I don't know that they would have experienced in that way. I do believe they would have experienced it anyway, because the home was broken. Whenever there's a divide, there's division, and that sometimes is not comfortable. So they were going to have to experience some things that I could not protect them from. I was trying to put the mask over my face as well so that I could be the best mama I could be to them. And again, I don't regret it. And if it weren't for my move, I would not have met my husband. So, no regrets there. But it did come with some growing pains, and still, as a result, my youngest son is in Michigan with his dad, and I'm here with my oldest. He's graduating in June, yay. But yeah, so that was the other thing that I did. Also, I made every large financial decision that you can make during this time. So yeah, bought a house, bought a car, did some things, yeah, all of that. And no regrets there. It's been a great area. We live in a great community. Because of the community we live in currently, it gave my kids a little bit more freedom to grow and to experience and to have relationships that they probably wouldn't have had we been in a different area. So that was a good thing, but also, a little challenging because it kind of stuck me. So, but again, no regrets. I don't take L's for losses. I take them for learnings. And so here we are. And then the last thing I'm going to share that I, oh my God, it was top of my head. I had a brain fog. So the last thing that I will share is that I tried to curate the exact same life that I had, just removing my ex-husband, and bring it to North Carolina. So I wanted to pick up Michigan, essentially, and bring it to North Carolina and just take away him and add him. I know it sounds weird. I was stalking my old life. Yeah, I did. I did that thing. I was stalking my old life, but she didn't want to come. She did not want to come. She like, girl, bye. You can have that. I don't want no parts of that. You get ready to go do a whole soft life, and I ain't about that life. I wants to be amongst the things, and I wants to be, I was a busybody, not in a bad way, in a great way. I was very involved in church. I was very, professionally driven and was very engaged that way. I had my own business. I was an event planner. Like it was never. My kids were very active. We didn't. We never had a day, right? So we would have to make days. We would have to take time out from things and say we're not gonna go so that we could have a day of rest. I would just go, 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 go. I don't. That's just my life, and I was built that way. I could do that. I tried to bring that life to North Carolina, and God said no. I don't even look the same. So I just, yeah, I I couldn't do that. I could not stalk my old life. I stalked my old life, but I could not invent my old life here. That was a bit difficult for me, and that's when I decided to go see a therapist because I wanted her. I loved her. Like I created her. And what you mean she ain't coming? No, nope, she didn't want to come. And so now I'm here, and I'm in this process of learning and growing and being and seeing, and I'm excited. And I'm thankful to God for his grace and mercy and for getting me to this place, not only physically still, but mentally and emotionally. And I'm continuing to evolve spiritually. It's not an easy thing. You can't, listen, you're not going to be able to outsmart it. Grief is grief, pain is pain, and you have to deal with it. You're going to have to face it. How you face it is up to you. But I will say for me, some things I could have done a little different. But thank God I'm here, and I hope this benefited you in some way. Please like, share, subscribe, and check me out in the next video. All right, Legacy Planners. Mwah.